Good afternoon. I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. Today's program features Mr. Chache Wright, the president of the San Bernardino NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We'll be back right after this short break.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good afternoon. I'm Wallace Allen, my friend, my mentoree, my almost godchild, Mr. Chache Wright. Chache, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Papa.
God is great. I'm grateful. Good to see you here. Finally sitting across from you at the Empire Talks Back baseball game. I'm going to throw you some pitches and I expect you to knock them out of the park. Chache, you are the president of the San Bernardino chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. You've been the chapter president now for a couple of years, right?
Oh, well, about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years, that's more than a couple. What were your expectations as president when you became president at a younger age? And how do you see your position now and the goals that you have? Are you with the same goals or have things changed? How have you matured into this position?
Well, initially when I started, I wasn't necessarily expecting this role. However, I have been nurtured and I have been cultivated by outstanding gentlemen like yourself in such a way that I won't shy away from the work. And so when I originally came into the role, I did think that or expect that it was going to be a lot of brown nosing and shaking hands and doing a lot of running around. That part is true in terms of the running around. However, the effort and the impact and the work that is involved, I had no idea how rewarding and fulfilling it would be to know that I was part of something that is not only long-standing, but also part of change currently, and I intend to make certain that it's part of change in the future.
Historically, the NAACP is the oldest national organization for supporting the civil rights of colored people. Actually, NAACP works and benefits many people who are not colored because of the fact that civil rights are civil rights and civil rights tend to be human rights. What are some of the things that you are most concerned about and most active about here in the San Bernardino area?
Well, currently my focal point is just what you said, our civil rights and supporting all of our community members, whether you're African American, Latino, Asian, because what's currently happening in our nation's climate right now, and then even in our backyard of Southern California or the Inland Empire specifically, there are initiatives that are being driven and there are narratives that are being pushed to insinuate that those who are quote unquote illegal or illegal aliens, and I prefer the term not undocumented, they are not a part of our collective or our community. When if you've been here, you would know, in this community at least, and you've been outside, you would know that they're not only active and aggressive in terms of trying to be a part of the positive solution, but also just trying to earn a wage and a living for their families. And I think it's imperative that we work together in all of our areas of community so that we can find ways for them to be here as documented citizens. But this aggressive notion of sense of get them out of here, I believe is just something that is just creating a division, not only in our community, but it's also creating fear. That is not something that I personally grew up in. I mean, there were different areas of fear, but worrying about being practically kidnapped and or assaulted by someone who doesn't even have jurisdiction over you as a U.S. citizen is a very, very troubling thing for me. Obviously, we know which entity that I'm referring to, but also in our own actual law enforcement. I do have really great relationships with both our San Bernardino sheriffs, San Bernardino Police Department, Rialto Police Department, Fontana Police Department, and still growing in other communities. But that doesn't change the fact that, unfortunately, as they say, the bad apples exist. And so that fight and that conversations always needed to be had, or at least there needs to be some form of presence from someone like myself, a part of the community that people in the community can come to, and also someone from the law enforcement can actually reach out and say, hey, these are the things that we're trying to do, and we wonder how the community will respond to that. And sometimes it's been a good conversation. Sometimes we just have to agree to, disagree.
And that's on the perspective of equal protection under the law. We would expect that, and we certainly have to be sensitive to the immigration situation. America is about immigration. So when we see this sharp attack on people of different nationalities coming into the United States, people who are coming here to work, primarily people from South America, south of our borders, and we are finding that you don't really have to be coming from the south of the border. We were looking at non-white people being the targets of ICE, of the immigration control situation. But we find that it's much like civil rights. At a certain point, if we don't protect everyone, we'll find ourselves being that object of attack. So African Americans initially were not so concerned about this immigration attack by ICE because it seemed like they were going to simply come in and get the worst of the worst and the meanest of the mean and take those people out, and which I think everybody would be probably better off if they were able to target with that attitude and actually make it happen. So the relationship with police is very, very important. There are other areas that I know that the NAACP is involved in and concerned with too, and that has to do with the civil right for access to health care, the civil right for access to housing, things of that sort. So how active is our local chapter in these other aspects of pursuing civil rights?
Well, particularly in the housing area, we actually have been a part of a collective of black organizations that have partnered with San Bernardino County. Housing is actually one of the subsets of that collective in which the NAACP is involved in. We've been in very close negotiations, or not negotiations, but conversations about different opportunities for housing. The interesting thing is that here in San Bernardino, or rather in our neighboring city, San Bernardino, the conversations haven't been as loud. And even here in Rialto, the opportunity for lower income housing or affordable housing haven't been a priority. And so with our presence, we've been, really driving pushing the needle to really try to get some, investigation into that. As far as our healthcare, that's one area that I believe that we can definitely do a lot more work in. We do have partnerships with our unions, such as SEIU, who are the union for the healthcare workers, and they've been making such great strides in terms of being able to provide support for the workers, but we haven't necessarily focused our looks or our attention into how we can accommodate their patients and those of our community that need the help. I do think that it is an area that is strongly overlooked. And then another area that is definitely something that I've always been, my mother, who is very strong in the advocacy for youth, is education. And then even in that regard, just being blunt about it, the demographic of young Black Americans or young African Americans here in the Inland Empire has drastically shrunk. I know students that are in schools and they be in the classroom, they're probably one of two Black kids. And that can kind of create a little bit of a strain on the, identity issues. And, we've seen how already the administration is working to minimize the amount of books and education and historic information about Black Americans. And so I've been really trying to really drive the way into the school. That's one of the locations that I'll probably be visiting, or I will be visiting this week here at Eisenhower, as a matter of fact. Just trying to really make certain that our students are aware of who they are and where they come from, and then also creating an avenue or an atmosphere for them to be able to come to through our youth council organizations. Riverside has one that's really robust, and we're still growing ours through the Hardy Brown College Prep, but they're the anchor, and we're just trying to expand it right now.
Very good. Now, the other question here has to do with your involvement. How do you involve yourself in that? What is it that you do? Do you go in and speak? Do you create coalitions that provide extra tutoring for our kids here? What do you see as the kind of solution that's needed to get our kids a bit more activated in college, activated toward college, or activated towards Saturday tutoring, things of that sort? What do you see as a solution for upgrading the accomplishments of our kids in school?
Well, I have different approaches in every different school. For example, Eisenhower, they have a great BSU, and Cajon High School also has a great BSU. And both of those, it was very easy to go into, ask them what it is that they want, and they were very vocal about the things that they felt interested in. So a lot of them said that they would like to see more support in the arts and music. And then there are other, schools that don't necessarily have a very robust on-campus African American identity entity, so to speak. And helping them build that out is where I've tried to step in and really give them support. And then having them actually start, building their own networks, tapping them in with other networks. And where I came up, not so long ago, but as a graduate of Rialto High School, one of the things that I always felt really positive and proud of was that we would have our BSUs interact with other ones. Well, with the advent of social media and whatnot, it's so much easier for the students, so that even if they're not even a very big group in their class or at their school, they can connect with other networks and other schools that also have a very big class. Blue Education Foundation, Riverside NAACP, San Bernardino NAACP, and it escapes me right now, but there's one more entity or organization we're working to get the kids to be involved in legislation, sending them up to the Capitol to get an awareness of how that machine works for them, and also touring for HBCUs. So it's a lot of moving parts, but the best thing that I found for us to be able to work for them is to be able to just let them know that those opportunities and those resources are out there, and then it kind of takes its own course.
I know that many people in our community, they have an issue or have a problem, one of the first things they say is, well, I'm going to call the NAACP. And certainly that is recommended, but that doesn't mean that they've been supporting the NAACP. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we get a chance to talk about how the community can be more supportive of the NAACP, and that the NAACP is not necessarily crisis-oriented, that we are able to work on things to prevent crisis as well as to deal with them when they do come. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, speaking with Mr. Chache Wright, the president of the San Bernardino chapter of the NAACP. We'll be right back after this short break.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free take me down to the river and walk. You know it's true, everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
I'm Wallace Allen. This is Empire Talks Back. We're talking to Mr. Chache Wright, president of the San Bernardino chapter of the NAACP. Chache, there's a network of NAACPs here in San Bernardino County, LA County, and Riverside County that you kind of work with. Could you mention who they are and where they operate?
Oh, absolutely. There's pretty much one almost in every area throughout Southern California, and we're trying to expand them. So, of course, we have the San Bernardino. Typically, San Bernardino, we try to address the concerns in San Bernardino, Loma Linda, Colton, Highland, Redlands, Yucaipa, generally within the San Bernardino County region. However, that's not to say that the desert area also has their own coverage of the Victor Valley. There's also the Rialto Fontana branch. Riverside has two as well. There is the Riverside County branch, and there's Riverside Lake Elsinore branch. And then there's also the Pomona, Ontario branch, or they mostly refer to themselves as Pomona, but we're all kind of a tight-knit network of entities or branches throughout the Inland Empire, and we're local for specific reasons in terms of being able to be more focused in how we can affect change or impact or provide resources to support. So where someone from maybe, actually literally had the circumstance where a gentleman from Riverside had an issue in Rialto, and the issue in Rialto was happening from someone who was from San Bernardino PD. So that network, we need that so that we can, he's a member of the Riverside branch, and we wanted to make certain that we provided support. And so he's gotten support from, all fronts from Rialto, San Bernardino, and Riverside have been, having hands in, and we try not to have too many chefs in the kitchen, but we all try to make certain that we are right behind them.
It's best to be able to call someone locally if you have a local issue. And if that issue has a regional impact or is best dealt with impact from the region, it's good that you have access to that many different branches in a sense. How do we support the NAACP? How does the NAACP exist?
That is a terrific question. So I believe that many people who are familiar with the NAACP or the NAACP are aware of how we can provide support to the community. But I think what might be a typical oversight is that the support to the community has to come from the community. And so whenever you see an issue, it's not necessarily that we don't want to hear your concerns, but we also need you to bring your support along with those concerns, because your concern might not be the only issue. There might be other people who are impacted with that, and the numbers, that brings the power. And our voices are louder together. But if you only tell us about an issue and you say, well, it's not my problem, I just wanted you to know about it, we're definitely driven in the effort of trying to support anyone that has an issue, but that is more impactful if you come with something else, or just being here, being around, being available to say, hey, we're not asking for your life, we're just asking maybe a little bit of your time.
Well, the issue is that if you see something, if you see something, say something. I'm more of the idea that if you see something, write it down. Because if you say something, that means I've got to write it down, or call Chache and he's got to write it down. If you have an issue, if you are going to make a report, if it's something you're involved with the police, you're going to have to make a police report. And sometimes when the police give you their little piece of paper for writing your report on, it restricts what you can say, how you're going to say it, because of the space they give you to do it. I say if you have an issue or a problem, write it down so that you can pass that along. If you tell me your problem and I've got to call you back and have everybody call you back for you to tell the story, we all know how stories change. I often tell the story of how great I was in high school running track, and I've become much greater as I recant those old stories and talk about how fast I used to run. I'm running 3 or 4 seconds faster now, as I remember it, than I. Anyway, if we want our stories to have integrity, we need to write them down, solidify the facts, and allow those facts to speak consistently from that point on. When people call you, and they do call you, do we still have a hotline? How does that work? Does it work? Or did it work? Or do we throw that away? Or is a hotline a good idea?
Well, we try to make it an opportunity that's available through all channels of communication. So we do have a telephone number. We are very easy to find on you can just Google it, San Bernardino NAACP. We would pretty much come up at the top of the search engine. And you can just easily just kind of come into our location, which is in San Bernardino on Western and Highland Avenue. However, you need to express it, or you could just mail your concerns in. And we also have a complaint form on our website. We do, as you stated, prefer to have something in writing because that gives us a lot more. That gives us a lot more fuel to be able to present it to whatever entity you might be having the issue with, and letting them know that this isn't just a concern that we made up or that we're running off of hearsay. We have specific documentation to indicate there are concerns, and you'd be amazed at how many times those concerns overlap. That's why I say that it's important to bring not only your issue but your people with you, so that when the issues are being approached or being addressed, we can have the numbers and the demographics and the information to say that. In fact, not long ago, last year, we had a forum against hate, and they actually had the FBI come. And they were deeply concerned. And it worked in our favor because some of our forms are filled out online, that we could actually, based on our Google form documentation, show that these are some of the concerns by the percentages that come in about education, about law enforcement, about workplace issues. And so they were able to use that information to not only, figure out how they can be more impactful from their end, but also how they can be a greater support and a resource if we ever reach out to say that there's an issue happening here, and we need more than just our local law enforcement involved.
So if someone does have an issue, the steps you would like for them to take are to?
Ideally, I would like for you to go onto our website and submit the form, and then contact us or call us or email us after you submitted the form. But I understand that some people might not be tech savvy, or that might be an issue, or they just don't feel comfortable with that. If that's the case, I'm more than happy to take
Or
a call.
Emotionally stressed because of the fact that they are involved, and involved at a very high point. So we can't always control those things, and we do want people to call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you do get a call, is your first step toward advocacy? Are you I'm going to call the NAACP so they can sue these guys? Your status as being magical and saint-like and walking the water is amazing when people are in trouble and need your help. It is not quite so amazing when people are not needing that help, but considering helping you. And I say that because that's the way it is. When they need help, people think you're in a great position to help. But if your ability to help depends on them helping you, and I could just say this, how have the donations been? This is Black History Month. Are people breaking your Zelle number down, making donations? As we thank the NAACP for its service, are we being as loud with that thank you with our financial donations?
I wish that were the case. However, although we do have support, we could absolutely use so much more. We do have opportunities for your support through all mediums of Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, whichever one you name it. but it is something that we definitely are overlooked in that regard because we're such a large entity that it's assumed that, oh, well, you guys are good, or it's national, but locally.
It's a large entity in everybody's mind.
Correct.
Because we've been here since
It's in the name, national.
1903 or something like that, and people feel that that's a powerful thing.
But our local branches are
support.
always in need of support, and that doesn't even always have to be monetarily. There are opportunities, literally, just to, like I said, if someone comes into the office and you have a moment, you can receive their complaint and you can hear them out. There are a lot of times when people come in and they don't even want to actually move forward with the complaint; they just want to be heard, and so that's an avenue of opportunity that often isn't received, or it's assumed to be effective.
Do you have a list of things that people can volunteer to do to be supported?
Oh yeah. Well, the
main thing is you've got that list. So
Yeah.
if we tell people to call you to volunteer, you've got something that they can do.
Most definitely. Yes. Reach out, tap in with us. We definitely can use your help. And I'm actively working in the effort to streamline it so that not only are you going to get that opportunity to volunteer, but then we can kind of usher you into being part of some of our subcommittees and some of our because we do a lot of work, and some of that work isn't necessarily about showing up to be loud. Some of that work is necessary to be proactive instead of reactive, and so we do work to try to be in spaces to make sure that we are sharing that information with other entities. Because sometimes, unfortunately, here in the Inland Empire, one entity might be doing the homeless work that doesn't know another entity doing the homeless work. And we're reaching out to both of those to make sure that we create a chain of connection.
Voter registration. Elections are coming and they are very important. I expect that the NAACP will be working on voter registration.
Absolutely.
Okay. I expect that with this opportunity to reach out, we could ask the general public if they've got some great ideas or maybe think they're great ideas for fundraising, that they could reach out to you and make suggestions as to how they might be able to help you, the NAACP, raise some money. They may be able to come up with some suggestions for effective voter registration projects. They may be able to come forward with some idea of how to help homeless people short term. They could help with quite a few things if they decided to call you and say, what can I do? And you've got that list of volunteer tasks that would set them on a good lane to help and support. What are some of one of the main things that you would be working on? I'm hoping you're going to say voter registration.
Absolutely. That's at the top of the list. I think our climate kind of speaks for itself.
Yes.
And that there needs to be a strong, aggressive maneuver to affect some change.
And something that would tie together your various NAACP branches here in the Inland Empire.
Indeed. And I think that that's also the other issue about being proactive that a lot of people overlooked, or they feel as though, some people feel as though voting doesn't work or it doesn't happen, but it only doesn't work when you don't participate. And so it's imperative that if you have an opportunity to come out to volunteer, or you just need to, if you want information, that's also something that we typically do each year, or each voting round. We try to have like a ballot party to kind of let you know about what the different measures are. We don't necessarily endorse or promote candidates as a nonpartisan entity. However, we do want you to be informed. We do want you to be aware of who you're voting for, and we try to be non-biased about it. In our voting parties, in fact, the last one that we actually had members from the Republican Party, and also members from the Democratic Party, and just had a really healthy, constructive dialogue. Everyone said their piece about what they felt was why you should or should not vote for it, and you'd be amazed at how many times there's an overlap where both entities are like, yeah, no, we don't support that either. So
Well, most of the time we are much better off when we are together.
indeed.
And thank you for your work in bringing our community together. And thank you for your work in terms of looking to the future and helping to define what is going to be a together move. God bless you, Mr. Wright. Thank you for
Mr.
your
Allen.
good work. Look forward to a call in the middle of the night saying, Papa, I need your help. I'll be happy to do it. You know I will. God bless you and thank you. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. Support the NAACP, support your community, and we will all be better off. God bless you. Thank you for your time.